we probably won't know the answer.
Highly unlikely that'll happen either.
All right.
Risk distribution can take the form of several different ways. One is enough outside business, unrelated. You've set your captive up, then I set my captive up to write insurance for me, but then I go to Chaz. Chaz puts some insurance in there. Kevin puts some insurance in there. Bill puts some insurance in there. Eventually, I've got enough unrelated business to mine to qualify as outside business. The other is what's called brother-sister. That's the Humana case. I've got a parent organization, a whole bunch of subsidiaries. One of those subsidiaries is also an insurance company. That can qualify if I'm insuring all those brothers-sisters into that sister insurance company.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a parent corporation. It can be the same individual owners.
Here's an example of our outside insurance. You got the parent owns the insurance company, puts the operating subsidiaries in there, and then also has unrelated. How much unrelated do we need? Guess? You might want to guess how much you got to have? I'm not going to ask you. Oh, you flipped it ahead. The service has issued a ruling that says if you've got 50% unrelated business, that's good enough to qualify as an insurance company. If it's 10%, that isn't going to work. That's still your dollars. You're paying that claim loss with your own dollars. But if you've got 50% unrelated, the service says that's okay. There's a court case out there that allows up to 30% to be unrelated. Said that was a good insurance company. So generally what we're going to use is somewhere between 30% unrelated and 50%. If you've got those kind of numbers, then you probably have a pretty good insurance company, assuming the risks that are being put in there meet the things that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, in today's environment where there's more audit activity, the agents appear to be using 50% as a litmus test, not as a guide.
Correct. They're using the ruling guidelines.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, he wants the mic.
One of the common structures within a group captive is known as an A fund, B fund, or frequency severity, where the frequency usually represents 80% of the captive's retention, and the severity represents 20% of the captive retention. Would that qualify as having sufficient risk shifting and sharing?
Well, it ought to qualify on the risk shifting, assuming that the group's got sufficient capital and assuming that nobody's guaranteeing the captive. On the distribution side, it depends on, in reality, how much is being shared among the group. That is everything in these frequency layers, the consequence of which is that you're paying your own losses, or when you look at the way that the captive actually operates, is it anticipated and candidly does it occur that a lot of it's being shared in the pool? There was a ruling, a private ruling of tech advice about 3 or 4 years ago on an AB fund where the issue was entirely different, not the one you're talking about. It was an accounting tax ruling. But in order to get to the ruling, they had to conclude that this was a real life insurance company, and they did. Doesn't mean that they would do it on the next one, but it was a pretty typical structure